Of memory comes from a poem that opened with the line, I dreamt we lived in a tumble-down shack on dunes of sand. And the work grew out of that to some degree. I thought about living in that landscape on dunes of sand, and then I thought about trying to transcend that landscape if you lived in it. And the work has grown from that idea of that point of transcendence, of reaching out. And then questions arose for me of how many points of support does one need in one's life? Is one anchor point, is one single anchor point enough? Or do we need more? And if a single point is enough, how do we know that we can trust it? How do we know it's strong enough? How do we know that that single point will support us? And the work of memory is connected to the ground by a single point. And it cantilevers out 3 metres from that point. It's a span structure. And so at the open end, of course, it's completely unsupported. And yet, you can sit on that end of the work and it will support you. But there's a question of risk and commitment there. You know, will I risk this? Am I sufficiently committed to this process to clamber aboard this thing and see if it will support me? Where it's sited, in a very direct way, it's reaching out. It's reaching across a tiny little valley that's in that landscape there at the southeastern edge of Marks Park. It's reaching across a tiny little valley, a gully really, and on the other side of that gully there's another rise, and your eye wants to connect it from certain points with that other rise. In a physical way, it's reaching out for another point in the landscape, another piece of topography, but also has a functional purpose in that it will serve as an object that people can interact with in a very direct way, and they can in fact sit on it. And where it'll be located, it'll serve as a viewing platform where you can look out to sea, or you can look back into Marks Park, and you can use it as a viewing bench to look at a lot of the other sculptures. It's about halfway along the walk. People get a bit hot, a bit restless, a bit tired by then. They can sit down, take a rest on my sculpture this year of memory, look out to sea, look at the other sculptures. As one approaches the piece, one's place in the landscape will shift to a far greater degree than it did last year. And as one's location around the work moves, based on the topography, the reading and the relationship with the work will alter. But having said that, the connection with the landscape is less direct. Last year it was terribly direct. It was that landscape and that landscape only, really. This year it's a more encompassing relationship to landscape, and one could take it from that location into another location where it would also work.